Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleni. I'm a second year dental student and I go to Tufts University. This is going to be my second video in my PAT series that I'm doing with PAT Crusher. In this video, I'll be covering cube counting. In my first video, I covered the angle ranking section of the PAT. And if you're unfamiliar, the PAT is the perceptual ability section within the DAT. The DAT is the dental admissions test that you have to take in order to get into dental school. So, I'm so excited for this video. This video is going to be on cube counting, so let's get into it. Cube counting is the section we will cover in this video. This section is set up a little bit differently. There are 5 figures, each one with 2 to 4 questions. But like all sections, there are 15 questions total, and I recommend about 2 minutes per figure, for a total of about 10 minutes in this section. In this section, there will be several figures with stacks of cubes, and each stack is made by cementing the cubes together. You are then told to imagine that the exposed sides of the cubes are painted except for the bottoms of the cubes. You will then be asked to count the number of cubes painted a certain amount of sides. So you could be asked how many cubes have 2 sides painted, or 3, or 4. This can be tricky though because you also need to count the sides that you cannot see. There can also be entire cubes that you cannot see. But there will only be hidden cubes where it would need to be to hold up an entire stack. So you won't have any floating cubes. One example of a hidden cube is this cube behind here that is holding up this stack. Another example would be this cube holding up this middle stack. So they are completely blocked from our view, but we know they are there because of the rule that there are no floating cubes. The most popular approach is to make a tally of how many cubes have a certain amount of sides. So you make a list 0 to 5, to then tally up the number of cubes that have a certain amount of sides painted. And you notice I included 0 because you may have a cube that is completely surrounded by other cubes, but also underneath a stack. And I also stopped the list at 5 because every cube will be touching something underneath, no matter what. So the bottom of the cube will never be painted. So when you get to the figure, go through the cubes one at a time and make the tally. And at the end, you also want to count the number of cubes and count the amount of tallies you have to make sure they match up. A test strategy I have for you is to not forget about the sides and the backs of the cubes. You cannot see these surfaces, but they will get painted. Also, you want to always look out for those hidden cubes that you cannot see but are still there. Okay, let's try an example now and apply the approach I taught you guys. You can pause it here if you would like to try it on your own first. Okay, so first thing we will do is make the chart in order to tally up the sides. So we're going to start by going one by one from the bottom left and count how many sides each cube has and mark it in the tally. So looking at this first cube here on the left in the front, you can see it has 3 sides painted. Then the next cube has only 1 side painted because all of the other sides are blocked, including the one on top. And this next cube has 2 sides painted because this one will have the back side of it free, so it will get painted as well. So we'll put a tally next to 2 for this one. Okay, so now let's move on to the second row of cubes on the bottom. So this first cube in the front that we see only has 1 side exposed. So let's put another tally for 1. So now this cube, we cannot see it at all, but we know it's there because of this cube on top, and there are no floating cubes. There has to be a cube underneath this one in order to hold it up. So in this case, this cube inside has 0 sides painted. And the cube behind it We also cannot see it, but we know it's there. But this cube will only have one side painted because the back side of the cube will be exposed. So that's another one to tally. Okay, so now let's move on to the final row on the bottom here. This first cube has 1, 2, and 3 sides that can be painted. So let's tally that. This next cube has only 2 sides exposed. 1 and 2 on the side. And this very last cube, we cannot see it, but again we know it is there because it is holding up this stack. So this cube is on the corner and must have 2 sides exposed, the side and the back. So we can add another tally to 2. So now that we finish the very bottom row, we can move up to the second level and start all the way to the left again. You want to come up with a system that works for you so you don't lose track of where you are. So maybe you always want to start at the top or to the right. Just figure out what works for you and stick to that system. I'm starting all the way to the left again and on the second level. And this first cube has 1, 2, 3 sides exposed. So let's tally that. And the second cube in this row has 1, 2, and 3 with the back side painted. So now let's move to the second row in this level. This first cube has 1, 2, 3, and 4 sides painted. This cube in the middle has 1 and 2 sides painted because this one here on the side is exposed. And this last cube has 2 sides painted because this back side is exposed as well. So let's tally another 2. And finally, the last cube in this level all the way to the right has 3 sides exposed, the front, the side, and the back. And this last cube at the top has 5 sides painted, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from the back. So now that we have tallied up all the cubes, we can finally look at the question and find the correct answer. So the question asks, how many cubes have 2 of their sides painted? So now we can very easily go to the tallies and go to the number of sides painted for 2. And you can see that 5 cubes have 2 of their sides painted. And here's the answer and explanation for this problem. This explanation can be found on the PAT Crusher website in the cube counting generator. Once you have answered a question, you can find the explanation below. So on the same figure, you may be asked 2 to 4 questions. So you could also be asked how many cubes have 4 sides painted, and you can very easily find your answer in your chart, and the answer is 1. This may seem very tedious and time-consuming, but with lots of practice, you can become faster and faster at it. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful for you guys for understanding the cube counting section of the PAT. If you guys want more practice problems, you can go to PAT Crusher, and I can give you guys my code, which is Eleni PAT20 for 20% off your account with PAT Crusher. And make sure that you guys are subscribed down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!